And wrestlers, obviously, who started the drop kits are going on to spread the name of the school and themselves, obviously, further afield in other promotions. It is all like slowly kind of thing. But I'd say overall, like my final kind of thing would be on this, my kind of thought on it would be that the business is still very healthy for most people.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, myself and my co-host were talking off air. Just, what was it, the guys that were signed very recently to WWE as well, weren't it?
There was...
names.
From this way?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis Howley, wasn't it?
Yeah. So,
Lewis Howley,
yeah. So, I mean, like, it's like you said, it's more in reach than it's ever been. Are you, because I'm guessing from just to end that conversation is the fact that you do hear a lot of promoters, or I don't know about promoters actually, let me take that back, I would say more fans of indie shows in the UK kind of complain perhaps about NXT UK a little bit, taking over the market, but then the way you've described it, it seems like you get the benefit of like a ripple effect. If they're doing well, you guys can do well from it as well.
Oh, absolutely. And in some ways, I think it switched the other way, where I think the kind of generation of people coming to shows now, like they're kind of going off the main ones and wanting to kind of seek out something a bit different. Obviously, you are still going to get the fact that when WWE come to town, that is going to draw the biggest out of anyone. Like I'm not saying we're outdrawing WWE, but it still is a case of like a lot of people are choosing like to still see like other wrestling outside of that. Because it used to be that when WWE came, it would be a case of people go to WWE and then that will be their wrestling intake for the 3-month period. But now people go to WWE, wherever it is, like they do all over the country, and then they go, I'll check out my local wrestling in my area when I get back, and perhaps that because they find a promotion they like, and they start going to their shows like every single month, or whatever it may be. So it's like, yeah, I can see why people are saying that. But it's one of those things as well. Like, I think it's a bit of our Britishness in it as well. Like we kind of want to keep things as it is, but you got to understand, like for a long period, like I said, for a long period, that like what people like Lewis Howley just getting signed. He was a Dropkick guy originally, by the way. People like Lewis Howley getting signed. Like they have now got a realistic prospect of this becoming like a career and making a lot of money from it, and obviously making a living out of it, which obviously wasn't the case before this.
Yeah. So
people have got to kind of understand that like if you want to do well, like people are obviously going to do well from it. And, you can't always expect that they're going to still be in those same promotions that you obviously first started watching them in. But the good thing is, promotions that, like myself, who have obviously homegrown and, like academy talent, there's always be something new.
Yeah. Now, I mean, now you're obviously seeing a lot of the up-and-coming guys and girls that are getting into the business from a very, like, early stage of their career. What are some of the things, like, have you noticed, because obviously like generations are a thing, like what they were watching to what probably I was watching in the Attitude Era has very much changed today. Is there a similarity to, like, is it quite transparent when they walk through the door what they want to be, how they're going to achieve it, or has it always been the same for you in your time?
Sometimes people do come in with a pre kind of idea they've had before,
right?
But on the most part, people do. I refer to it as like a turning point. Like most trainees, students, wrestlers, they have like a turning point of they learn the stuff they need to learn, and then something just happens. It might be they go to a show. It might be they do a training match. It might be that they speak to one of the guest coaches or whatever, and that just something just clicks on them, and that turns them into the wrestler they're going to be. And like one example I'll give this off my main roster, a guy called Taylor Essex, who even actually on Sunday at the Bamwell Centre. His name, like his ring name, it came from the fact that a conversation happened and someone just said he's a bit ditzy, to put it in a nicer way. Please don't please don't hurt me. But and people just said, you remind me of Joey Essex. and then it just stuck. And before that, he was wrestling under like a normal kind of non kind of gimmick name,
right?
And we said, you should come out with the selfie stick, do the whole I Love Essex gimmick. We're doing shows in Essex, and so that's how Taylor Essex was born. And it was just that conversation of someone just saying, Joey Essex.
Yeah.
And this was a few years ago. I know he is unbearable, but he's always been popular, isn't he? Unfortunately, for some reason, with the Love Island crowd and that. But sorry, not Love Island.
Yeah.
But that was an example I'm saying of like someone who didn't have much of anything, and then that just happened, and now, like I said, he's one of the guys who I look up to and respect like a lot on my roster, and people who are spreading the name around. But yeah, it does vary though. But I mean, in terms of like you said, I think one thing is about the Attitude Era and about that was very. I remember like when I first started training, people were still kind of trying to copycat the Attitude Era kind of stuff. Right. I think wrestling went through a very, very sad kind of period, I'd say, to be fair, in like the mid-2000s, where people were longing and were begging for Attitude Era stars still. Yeah. And obviously, it got to the point where obviously, Stone Cold had retired, The Rock was going to do a movie, Triple H was still about, but obviously was merged into kind of a new kind of Triple H, and obviously, with us smart fans, we all kind of knew that obviously he was getting the world title because he was he had invested interest, let's say, in in the boss's daughter. But and schools, we were still kind of we were always kind of taught like the old kind of British way, but you could sense that people still longed for the action and stuff. Whereas now I think we've got somewhat of a better identity, I guess. Yeah. And people, I guess, even though we have kind of borrowed stuff from like the Americans, and we are kind of still doing our own kind of thing out there. So it's quite a unique thing, seeing a British wrestling show, I think.
Sure. No, I'd totally get that. One of the things, whenever I speak to certain wrestlers, they say to me is that the difference sometimes, or the experience that they don't have often coming into the setup of like an NXT UK or something like that, is the fact that they just didn't work in front of a camera, and how much of a difference there is on like a TV match as opposed to sort of just feeling out a live crowd, and that there is a big difference in that TV show style kind of match to having, essentially, I remember, this is going way back when I used to go to FWA shows, and a lot of the fans there were they were very demanding, to say the least. They expected 5-star matches of epic quality, whether you were number 1 match or number 2 match, and if it wasn't, it was a bad show. And I was like, really, what we need to look at is the bigger picture, and telling some stories in all that. But back then, I think that there was a bit of an issue going on, like a discrepancy between promoters and wrestlers about, is it best to have outstanding matches and break your back type thing all the time, or do we just kind of drill in a storyline for something for people to come back to? But now I feel like for the first time in a long while, like there's a nice balance between the two, and I think it's just hit the right niche,
Yeah, I'd argue that obviously like Progress in particular were very good at showing that you can do storylines. Yeah. Obviously on that, for an adult / older kind of crowd. Yeah, absolutely. So they weren't doing the kind of delivery storylines. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think there was that very weird period that happened, like, it's like early 2000s, early to kind of mid 2000s, I guess. But wrestling as a whole didn't know what it wanted to be. I think that was the main problem. I think obviously we came off, the biggest ever period of wrestling. And I don't actually keep having to go on about it because this might be the controversial moment. I'm going to say it. I'm not a massive fan of the Attitude Era. I actually enjoyed like the Ruthless Aggression Era, right? And because obviously a lot of those wrestlers that came out of that era still are wrestlers, obviously, who I kind of was able to enjoy the entire careers of. I also enjoy very much early 90s, like WWF. I know it's a bit comic and a bit cartoony, but I think they might be on something there. But I think definitely what you're saying about like how you had, certain fan expectations back then. I still think those expectations are about now. But I think In terms of like a lot of the struggles that we used to have, a lot of them are now been overcome, because even like the whole problem of not being able to work for TV or whatever, like we've, even like I film every single one of my shows, for instance. And obviously there's other promotions that film, in better quality, let's say, than I do. But it's all this kind of stuff which I guess it was kind of it wasn't really thought about for ages. Yeah. All the kind of stuff, I'm a professional photographer at my show. I film it, and obviously every promotion's doing the same now. So people are getting more experience at just working. If they're working like to a hard cam or whatever, they're still working towards the camera. So it's not that much of a surprise, obviously, when they get to NXT. But obviously, so this is a much different setup, don't get me wrong. And it's probably, still very difficult and still like, a bit of a culture shock, but it's not as much as it would have been before, where you're getting people who just are doing stuff, to work the crowd or whatever, not even have to think of that as a possibility. But now it's a case of everything's filmed, and everyone has social media. Even if it's like a phone camera, everything's filmed to some extent.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right there. Finally, sort of like finish up on this one, but how do you? Do you get time to just sort of like still enjoy wrestling yourself? Like sit back and watch the various promotions that are out there. Like, do you watch WWE a lot, or are you going to be into AEW when it comes along? Like, what are your kind of enjoyments in wrestling, if you get time, that is, to sit back and relax?
I still enjoy wrestling. Like, I must admit that I don't get as much time for it as I used to do. And that,
there's a lot of it.
It does sometimes, it does sometimes bug me, but it's like, like I said, there's a lot of it, and it's getting to the point where I don't think you can watch everything in a week now. If you want to have a life around that, look, I predominantly watch the degree, like mainly their stuff. I'll be watching some AEW when it comes, obviously, mainly because of ease of access to it, I guess. Yeah. Because it'll be on, I think it's on ITV4 or whatever. Yep. But I still find myself just literally sometimes just putting the WWE Network on and just finding like an old Nitro or old Raw from the early 90s and just sitting back and just watching something from a completely different time period. I say to people all the time, but it's like the amount of advancements that have happened in like 20-25 years is just massive. Like when you watch stuff from that long ago, it's literally like going back. You could be going back 400 years ago. Do you know what I mean? That's how it feels like. It's so. It feels still so current to me. Do you know what I mean? Like I remember watching Nitro on a Friday evening on Channel 5. Back when I was growing up, and I remember Raw when it wasn't live. But that literally, and I remember it like it was like last week or whatever. But it has been like 20 years. But I still enjoy watching wrestling, and I think when I'm watching wrestling, like for the purpose of obviously I do watch wrestling as well, like to learn stuff from, and to like obviously I coach the sessions and that, so I do watch wrestling from that background too, so from a teaching background. When I do get a chance just to watch something, that's when I used to watch something silly. So I will find like the weirdest episode of Raw from like 1994 and try to laugh at the silly gimmicks. Or I'll find like a random a random WWE pay-per-view from like 99, 2000 and just indulge in its silliness. Or like I said, I do go the other way where I'd watch like 205 Live or at the NXT Weekly Show, which I don't watch either as much as I should, to be fair. But I watch that because obviously that usually is the better wrestling that they produce. But like I said, I'm looking forward to. I do watch some of the Progress shows too. I quite like Progress, and I do try to watch obviously some of the Dropkick stuff back too. But it's obviously, like you said, there's just so many hours in the week.
You've got to leave yourself something. Okay then. Well, again, where can we get the tickets from now? Of course, you're at Westcliff this Sunday, and then the Saturday after, which is the 31st, I believe, you will be in my neck of the woods in Laindon for Lethal Lottery. So, back to back here on this one. And again, if you want to find out how to get tickets, you can get it on our website. We've posted it up there. We've also posted it on various social networks. If you just want to let them know just one more time where you can get tickets from, that'll be cool with us.
Yep, so tickets are out on our website, and obviously links on your website anyway. But the website is dkwtickets.ecw.id.
Amazing.
ecwid.com, sorry.
And anything for yourself where we can find you as well, any of the listeners?